The silence of deep space shattered when the celestial detection array in Antarctica picked up the signal. It wasn't the usual cosmic background noise or the rhythmic pulses of distant stars. This was different, a deliberate pattern that made Dr. Sarah Chen's hands tremble as she verified the readings for the fourth time. "Director Walsh, you need to see this," she transmitted to the Global Space Initiative headquarters in Geneva. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth confirmed it. Humanity had received its first alien transmission. The message itself was simple, yet terrifying. They hunt. They consume. We run. Please help. 24 hours later, the skies above Earth lit up as three massive vessels emerged from fold space, their hulls bearing the scars of recent combat. The vessels belonged to the Lyran Collective, a civilization of beings that resembled ethereal jellyfish, their translucent bodies housing complex neural networks that glowed with bioluminescent patterns. Ambassador Nexus, their lead diplomat, projected images of devastation across the United Nations chamber. The Kraken Dominion destroyed our outer colonies within days, their thought patterns translated through the hastily assembled interface. They consume everything: resources, technology, life itself. Nothing is spared. Nothing is wasted. General Michael Santos, commander of Earth's United Defense Force, watched the recordings with growing concern. The Kraken Dominion ships weren't just warships. They were mobile processing facilities that stripped conquered worlds bare. Their tactics showed no concern for casualties, either their enemies or their own. "How long?" he asked. 3 months, Nexus responded. Their main fleet moves slowly, converting conquered resources to fuel their expansion. "We came to warn you, but also to beg for sanctuary. Our remaining ships carry the last survivors of our civilization." The global response was immediate and unprecedented. Within hours, the Security Council convened an emergency session. China offered its vast manufacturing capabilities. India's tech hubs began analyzing Lyran data. The United States opened its military bases for joint operations. But it was Dr. Maya Patel's presentation that changed everything. The young quantum physicist had spent the night reviewing Lyran technical data, and what she discovered sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The Kraken Dominion's technology isn't actually superior to the Lyrans, she explained, her holographic presentation showing comparative analyses. They win through sheer brutality and numbers. But their basic technological principles, they're fundamentally different from what we've been developing on Earth. She highlighted several key points. We've been approaching faster than light travel through quantum tunneling. They use fold space manipulation. We've been working on plasma-based weapons. They use gravitational distortion. Their entire civilization developed along a completely different technological path than either humanity or the Lyrans. General Santos leaned forward. "What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "I'm suggesting that humanity's primitive technology might be our greatest advantage. The Kraken Dominion has never encountered our approach to physics. They've never faced our type of weapons. And most importantly," she paused, allowing her next words to carry their full weight, "they've never fought a species that evolved as persistence predators." The implications weren't lost on anyone in the room. Humanity had spent its entire history adapting, innovating, and overcoming supposedly superior forces. Now, facing an alien threat that had crushed hundreds of civilizations, Earth's leaders didn't respond with fear. They responded with determination. Ambassador Nexus observed the humans' reaction with fascination. Where other species had begged for mercy from the Kraken Dominion, these beings began preparing for war. Their industries mobilized with shocking speed. Their scientists worked tirelessly to merge Lyran knowledge with human innovation. Their military strategists devised plans that the Lyrans found both brilliant and disturbing. But it was the civilian response that truly surprised the Lyrans. Instead of panic, humans showed a grim resolve. Universities transformed into research centers. Vehicle factories retooled to produce weapons. Children practiced emergency protocols with the same dedication as soldiers. When the first long-range probes detected the Kraken Dominion's advance fleet, Earth was ready. The warning buoys they'd scattered throughout the solar system transmitted images of massive bioengineered vessels, each one larger than Earth's largest cities. The sight would have demoralized most species. Humanity's response: they named the incoming vessels, analyzed their weaknesses, and prepared specialized countermeasures for each class of ship. The Kraken Dominion was about to learn why Earth's apex predators had dominated their world, not through overwhelming force, but through adaptability, cunning, and sheer, unstoppable determination. As the first phase of Earth's defense grid powered up, Dr. Chen found herself working alongside Lyran engineers, combining their fold space knowledge with Earth's quantum experiments. "We're not just fighting for survival," she told her alien colleagues. "We're fighting to show the galaxy that intelligence comes in many forms, and that being technologically different doesn't mean being inferior." The Kraken Dominion was about to learn this lesson the hard way. Humanity's first contact with alien life had come at a terrible price, but it had also awakened something that had slumbered in human DNA since their ancestors first looked up at the stars: the instinct to not just survive, but to hunt. The Kraken Dominion's advanced scouts discovered something unexpected as they approached Earth's orbit: silence. No transmission chatter, no detection signals, nothing that indicated a civilization preparing for war. Admiral Kwex, commanding the scout fleet, felt his chromatophores pulse with suspicion. A primitive species should be radiating fear, he transmitted to his command staff. Their communications should be chaos. Their satellites should be obvious. Instead, we find nothing. On Earth, deep beneath the Himalayas, Colonel Sarah Chen, formerly Dr. Chen, watched the alien vessels probe Earth's seemingly empty defense sphere. The global communications blackout had been her idea, a complete electromagnetic silence that made Earth appear abandoned. Every satellite had been retrofitted with Lyran cloaking technology, every defense platform hidden behind quantum shields that bent light and sensor readings around them. "Like our ancestors hiding in the tall grass," she murmured, remembering humanity's evolutionary history as ambush predators, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The integration of human and Lyran technology had produced remarkable results. Dr. Patel's team had created what they called paradox weapons, devices that combined Earth's understanding of quantum mechanics with Lyran fold space technology. The result was weaponry that didn't just damage its targets, it rewrote the laws of physics around them. In orbital shipyards hidden behind Mars, General Santos supervised the final modifications to Earth's defense fleet. The vessels looked nothing like their Lyran counterparts or the biological ships of the Kraken Dominion. They were angular, aggressive, and purposefully intimidating, designed by humans who understood the psychological impact of fear. The Kraken evolved from deep-sea ambush predators, Santos explained to Ambassador Nexus, who watched the preparations with their species' equivalent of awe. "They attack with overwhelming force because that's how they evolved to hunt. But humanity, we evolved to chase our prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We're built for endurance, for adapting, for thinking our way around stronger opponents." This fundamental difference showed in every aspect of Earth's preparations. While the Kraken Dominion relied on biological weapons that consumed their targets, humanity developed viral algorithms that turned the Dominion's own bioships against them. While the Kraken deployed overwhelming force, humanity prepared for asymmetric warfare on a scale never before seen in galactic conflict. The most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Martinez, a marine biologist, recognized patterns in the Kraken's battle formations that mimicked deep-sea hunting behaviors. "They're not just named after ancient Earth cephalopods," he explained during a strategic briefing. "They think like them. They hunt like them. And that means they have the same vulnerabilities." This insight led to Project Lighthouse, a system of quantum beacons that could disorient the Kraken's bioengineered ships the same way bright lights confused deep-sea creatures. Combined with Dr. Patel's paradox weapons, it gave humanity a fighting chance against an enemy that had never lost a war. But the Kraken weren't easily fooled. As their scout ships pushed deeper into the solar system, they began detecting anomalies, subtle distortions in space-time, brief energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Kuvex, more cautious than most of his species, ordered a full-spectrum analysis of the entire system. What they found sent ripples of alarm through the scout fleet. The humans weren't just adopting Lyran technology. They were changing it, improving it in ways that defied conventional understanding. The Kraken had encountered countless species, consumed countless civilizations, but never one that could innovate so quickly, adapt so readily. In the Himalayan Command Center, Colonel Chen received the report she'd been waiting for. The Kraken scouts were pulling back, regrouping for a full analysis of their findings. It was exactly what they'd hoped for, the first sign that humanity had managed to confuse an enemy that thought itself invincible. "They're used to prey that runs," she told her staff, a predator's smile crossing her face. "They don't know how to handle prey that hunts them back." Ambassador Nexus, observing the humans' preparations, transmitted an urgent message to their remaining fleet. "We sought refuge with a species we thought primitive," the message read. "Instead, we found something unique in our galaxy, a predator species that hunts with its mind as much as its weapons. The Kraken Dominion has never faced anything like humanity. They don't just adapt, they transform their adversaries' strengths into weaknesses." As the scout fleet retreated to report its findings, Earth continued its preparations in calculated silence. The Kraken Dominion was about to learn why humanity's history was filled with stories of smaller, smarter opponents defeating overwhelming force. The art of defiance wasn't just about standing ground. It was about turning the enemy's assumptions into fatal flaws. In orbit, Earth's hidden fleet waited. In underground bunkers, quantum computers calculated precise paradox points in space-time. And in command centers around the world, humanity prepared to demonstrate why they had become Earth's apex predators, not through size or strength, but through the deadly combination of intelligence, adaptability, and the relentless drive to overcome any challenge. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why underestimating Earth was the last mistake many species would ever make. The Kraken Dominion's main fleet arrived with the arrogance of an apex predator that had never known defeat. 10,000 bioships, each one a masterpiece of organic engineering, emerged from fold space in a display of overwhelming force. Their very presence distorted the space around them, their biological hulls pulsing with deadly intent. Supreme Commander Vexthal, watching Earth's blue sphere through multiple compound eyes, felt nothing but contempt. "Another primitive world," he transmitted to his fleet. "Another species that will feed our expansion." The first sign that this battle would be different came when his forward elements encountered nothing. The scout fleet's reports of strange energy signatures and spatial distortions had led him to expect some form of resistance. Instead, Earth hung in space, seemingly defenseless. In the Himalayan Command Center, Colonel Chen watched the Kraken fleet's formation with the calculated patience of a hunter. "Like our ancestors watching a herd of prey," she murmured, waiting for them to step into the perfect position. Dr. Patel's voice came through the quantum-encrypted comm. "Paradox points are aligned. Project Lighthouse is ready. We can trigger the trap on your command." The Kraken fleet moved closer, their bioships spreading out in a hunting pattern evolved from ancient ocean predators. They were halfway to Earth's orbit when General Santos gave the order that would change galactic warfare forever. "Light them up." Thousands of quantum beacons activated simultaneously, each one generating impossible patterns of light and energy that tore through the Kraken's biological sensors. Bioships reeled, their organic systems overwhelmed by stimuli they had never evolved to process. In the chaos, Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. Human warships, their hulls black as deep space, emerged from their quantum shrouds. They didn't move like any ships the Kraken had encountered. Instead of the direct assault patterns used by most species, these vessels attacked like wolf packs, coordinating in ways that seemed impossible. "Show them why humanity ruled Earth's food chain," Santos transmitted to the fleet. The response was devastating. Paradox weapons fired, creating localized areas where physics itself rebelled. Kraken bioships found themselves trying to exist in spaces where the laws of reality had been rewritten. Some imploded, their biological structures unable to maintain cohesion. Others fired blindly, their weapons passing harmlessly through spaces that no longer properly existed. Vexthal, watching his perfect hunting formation dissolve into chaos, felt something his species had never evolved to handle: fear. These humans weren't fighting like prey. They were fighting like predators. Predators with an understanding of warfare that challenged everything the Kraken thought they knew. Ambassador Nexus, observing from the safety of lunar orbit, transmitted to their remaining people, "We are witnessing something unprecedented. The humans aren't just fighting the Kraken, they're hunting them." The battle that followed would be studied by military historians for centuries. Human ships, using tactics evolved from pack hunters, isolated and destroyed Kraken vessels many times their size. When the Dominion attempted to adapt, they found their enemies had already changed strategies, striking from new angles with different weapons. Dr. Martinez's insights proved invaluable. Every time the Kraken fell back on their instinctive hunting patterns, they found those very instincts used against them. Quantum beacons herded them into killing zones. Paradox weapons turned their biological advantages into weaknesses. Even their attempts to retreat were met with traps laid along predictable escape routes. Like spider webs in the dark, Chen observed, watching another Kraken battle group fall into a carefully prepared ambush. They never see them until it's too late. The breaking point came when human ships demonstrated their most terrifying capability: the ability to adapt during battle. When Kraken bioships evolved countermeasures to the first wave of paradox weapons, they found their opponents switching to entirely new attack patterns, using technologies that seemed to have been developed in the middle of combat. Vexthal, watching a third of his fleet dissolve into quantum chaos, made a decision unprecedented in Kraken history. "Full retreat," he commanded. "These creatures, they're not prey. They're something else. Something worse." But retreat wasn't as simple as the Kraken expected. Human ships had seeded their escape vectors with quantum mines that turned fold space itself into a weapon. The Dominion's fleet found itself trapped between waves of human attackers and paths home that had become deadly gambles. In the end, less than half of the Kraken fleet escaped. The rest were destroyed or captured, their bioships providing valuable data for Earth scientists to study. The victory was decisive, but humanity's leaders knew better than to celebrate too early. "They'll be back," Santos told the Global Defense Council, "with new adaptations, new strategies. But now they know what we are. Not just another primitive species to be consumed, but a force that can match their evolution with innovation." Ambassador Nexus, watching Earth's fleet return to their hidden docks, transmitted one final message to their people: "The galaxy is changing. The Kraken Dominion has met its match not in size or numbers, but in a species that turned its own evolutionary history into a weapon. Humanity doesn't just fight. They hunt. And they're very, very good at it." The first major battle was over, but the war was just beginning. Humanity had revealed itself as a power that could challenge the Kraken Dominion, and the galaxy would never be the same. The predators had become the prey, and Earth's defenders were just getting started. The loss of half their invasion fleet sent shockwaves through the Kraken Dominion's empire. In their 1,000-year history of conquest, they had never encountered a species that could not only resist them but hunt them. Supreme Commander Vexthal, once disgraced by retreat, now found himself vindicated as reports of human counterattacks spread through Dominion space. They didn't come in massive fleets. They didn't announce their presence with shows of force. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before the Kraken could mount an effective defense. Each attack targeted something different: supply lines, communication nodes, biological processing centers. It wasn't random violence. It was systematic dismantling of an empire. Dr. Martinez, now heading the Xenobehavioral Warfare Division, explained humanity's strategy to the Combined Earth Defense Council. We're not just attacking their military capabilities. We're attacking their psychological foundation. The Kraken have always been the apex predators. Now, for the first time, they're experiencing what it means to be hunted. The effectiveness of this approach became clear when human forces began broadcasting a simple message before each attack: "We are humanity. We remember." The psychological impact was devastating. Kraken bioships began responding erratically to any human presence, their crews fighting their own instincts to either attack or flee. Colonel Chen, leading a strike force deep in Dominion territory, observed the change firsthand. "They're starting to understand fear," she reported back to Earth. "Not the quick panic of prey, but the deep, grinding fear of a predator that knows it's being stalked." The turning point came at the Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Kraken, attempting to regain their dominance, assembled their largest fleet since the Earth invasion. 5,000 bioships, newly evolved with countermeasures against human weapons, prepared to strike at humanity's first extrasolar colony. They found an empty system. No defenses, no colony ships, no signs of the human presence they'd detected. Too late, they realized they'd fallen into humanity's oldest hunting trap, a false trail leading to an ambush. Dr. Patel's latest innovation revealed itself as hundreds of quantum singularities appeared throughout the Kraken fleet. Each one was a doorway, and through each doorway came humanity's answer to the Dominion's biological warfare. Cybernetic ships piloted by human consciousness merged with artificial intelligence. "You evolve your ships," General Santos transmitted to the Kraken command. "We evolved ourselves." The battle that followed wasn't just a military engagement. It was a demonstration of why humanity's path of technological development had been so different from other species. Where the Kraken improved through biological evolution, humanity had learned to transcend their biological limitations entirely. Ambassador Nexus, watching the battle through quantum feeds, sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. "We are witnessing the birth of a new kind of civilization. The humans have not just adapted to space warfare, they have reimagined what it means to be a spacefaring species." The cybernetic ships moved with impossible precision, their human pilots combining natural hunting instincts with AI processing speed. They didn't just fight the Kraken, they predicted their responses, countered their strategies before they could form, and turned their biological advantages into vulnerabilities. But it was what happened next that truly demonstrated humanity's unique approach to warfare. Instead of destroying the entire Kraken fleet, the human forces let some escape. Specifically, the ships that had witnessed the full extent of Earth's new capabilities. "Fear is a weapon," Dr. Martinez had argued when planning the battle. But it's not just about creating fear. It's about controlling how that fear spreads. The survivors of Proxima Centauri carried back stories that shook the Dominion's hierarchical society to its core. They spoke of humans who had transcended their physical forms, of weapons that defied natural law, and of a species that didn't just fight wars, but rewrote the rules of warfare itself. In the aftermath, Earth's leadership received an unprecedented communication from the Kraken Dominion's ruling council. For the first time in their history, they were requesting negotiations, not from a position of strength, but from a recognition that they faced something they couldn't overcome through force alone. Colonel Chen, reading the message in her command center, allowed herself a small smile. "They're learning," she observed. "The question is, are they learning quickly enough?" The war wasn't over, but it had entered a new phase. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of defending Earth, but of challenging the most powerful empire in known space. The galaxy was changing, and at its center was a species that had turned its own evolutionary history into a weapon of war. As Earth's forces prepared for the next phase of the conflict, One thing became clear: the Kraken Dominion had made the same mistake as so many others throughout human history. They had assumed technological advancement followed a single path, and that their way was superior. Instead, they had awakened a species that had spent its entire existence learning to overcome superior forces through innovation, adaptation, and the relentless drive to survive. The hunter's gambit had paid off, but the greatest challenges still lay ahead. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting to reshape the galaxy's understanding of what civilization could become. The Kraken Dominion's capital world, Depths Prime, had never known fear until humanity's final offensive began. It started not with weapons, but with a message broadcast through every quantum frequency. We could end you. Instead, we offer a choice. Supreme Commander Vexthal, standing before the Dominion's High Council, felt his chromatophores pulse with conflicting emotions as he delivered his report. The humans have positioned quantum singularity devices throughout our core systems. They could trigger collapse points that would tear our worlds apart. But they haven't. The Council Chamber, a vast biological construct that reflected the Kraken's evolution from deep-sea predators, rippled with uneasy movements. For the first time in their history, they faced a species that had them at its mercy, and chose not to strike. On Earth, the Combined Defense Council debated humanity's next move. Dr. Patel's quantum weapons could end the war instantly. General Santos' cybernetic fleets could dismantle the Dominion's remaining defenses. Yet Colonel Chen argued for a different approach. "We've proven we can outfight them," she addressed the council. "Now let's prove we can outthink them." The human proposal, when delivered to Depths Prime, stunned the Kraken leadership. Instead of demanding surrender or imposing reparations, humanity offered partnership. They would share their quantum technology, their cybernetic advancements, their understanding of physics, in exchange for the Dominion's biological expertise and a permanent end to their expansionist wars. Ambassador Nexus, now representing a growing coalition of species freed from Kraken dominance, observed, "The humans understand something that neither we nor the Kraken fully grasped. True strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to." Dr. Martinez's insights proved crucial once again. The Kraken evolved as ambush predators, striking from hiding to overwhelm their prey. But humanity, we evolved chasing our prey until it either died from exhaustion or joined our tribe. We're not just hunters, we're pack builders. The transformation of the Kraken Dominion began not with their defeat, but with their education. Human scientists worked alongside Kraken biologists, combining their understanding of cybernetics with the Dominion's mastery of biological engineering. The result was a new kind of civilization, one that balanced predatory instinct with cooperative innovation. Colonel Chen, walking through a joint human-Kraken research facility on Depths Prime, watched as former enemies worked together to solve problems neither species could handle alone. "This is how humanity became Earth's dominant species," she explained to a young Kraken scientist. "Not just by outcompeting others, but by turning competitors into collaborators." The galaxy witnessed something unprecedented, a predator species choosing to end a war not through annihilation, but through integration. The Kraken learned to channel their hunting instincts into exploration and discovery. Humanity learned to enhance their adaptability with biological innovations. Ambassador Nexus's final report to the Galactic Council became required reading for all spacefaring civilizations. The humans have shown us that evolution has many paths. Their strength lies not in their weapons or their technology, but in their ability to transform enemies into allies. They are predators who learn to build rather than merely destroy. 5 years after the war's end, Earth hosted the first Galactic Cooperation Summit. Representatives from 100 species gathered to witness something remarkable: the former Kraken Dominion working alongside humanity to establish new protocols for peaceful expansion and technological exchange. Dr. Patel, presenting the latest innovations in bioquantum computing, smiled as she watched Kraken scientists eagerly discussing ideas with human colleagues. "We didn't just win a war, she told General Santos. We won a future. The message that had started it all, a desperate plea for help from the Lyran Collective, had led to more than just humanity's emergence as a galactic power. It had demonstrated that true strength comes not from the ability to dominate, but from the wisdom to transform conflict into cooperation. As Earth's influence spread throughout the galaxy, other species began to understand what made humans unique. It wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their determination. It was their ability to see beyond the simple dynamics of predator and prey, to imagine and create new ways of existence. The final irony wasn't lost on Supreme Commander Vexful, now serving as the Kraken representative to Earth. We thought we were the galaxy's greatest hunters, he remarked during the summit's closing ceremony. Instead, we found a species that had mastered something far more powerful, the art of turning hunting grounds into common ground. Humanity had proven that being apex predators didn't mean being mindless destroyers. They had shown the galaxy that true power lies not in the ability to take life, but in the wisdom to transform it. The stars would never look the same again.